good evening on this hot evening. If you're hearing noise in the background, that is my air conditioners and fans that they're blowing hard because it has been a very, very hot day today. Thank you for tuning in on this edition of Madman with the Show. I'm Zane. Don't forget, subscribe, like, support, share. Always very important. Once again, just in case if you didn't pick it up at the earlier episode, last week's Thursday episode, ASAP Rocky is no longer available here on YouTube. You'll be able to see it on BitChute. We did get a copyright hit on there, but for what it is, I was not going to let Warner Brothers put ads on my show for them to collect money on something that I produced, giving them some advertisement because I was doing a tribute to Rutger Hauer, and a minute, I shouldn't have been flagged on that. And YouTube needs to understand that they need to put some barriers with these companies that says if they use no more than 10 minutes, it's fair use. I was within the fair use, so I should be able to use it. But anyway, let's get to the nitty-gritty, some good news. Last week we talked about The Expanse is coming in for a fourth season. It has been moved over to Amazon Prime, which I believe it's a great choice that they're over there. And because it's such a good show, Amazon in its great choices and great decision making have decided to renew The Expanse without the fourth season airing. The fourth season is going to air in December, about December 13th. Okay? December. Okay? We are just going into August. We're just getting into August now. The Expanse will get a fifth season. It is being green-lighted for season 5. You got to love it. This is truly one of the best science fiction shows, hands down, on TV today. Is it one of the best? Better than Star Trek, better than Doctor Who right now, better than a lot of the other science fiction shows that are on TV right now. And it is a great cast. I just started over the weekend to watch season 1. I'm just getting into season 2 now. And I'm just trying to get back into the groove again because I know it's going to be coming back in December. I'll probably watch it one more time. All 3 seasons one more time when I get through it again, because it is that great of a show. If you have not caught this show started on Sci-Fi, on the Sci Fi Channel, and they went about 3 seasons, and basically Sci Fi Channel canceled it, which what they normally do. Sci-Fi Channel gets a great show, and they get a couple seasons in it, and then they cancel it. But meanwhile, they throw up stuff like Z Nation, which was horrible, a couple other shows. Meanwhile, shows like Happy, and then there was another show. Oh God, what was it called? I'm trying to remember. It was something based on the comics. Kids becoming assassins. It was some assassin school that got canceled too, and they didn't even give that a chance. So Happy was good, but I always said Happy was in the wrong network on being on Sci-Fi Channel. I think that belonged more on something like an Amazon or a Netflix or Epix or HBO. You got some great series out there, but they're in the wrong place. But then on Amazon, you also got The Boys, which I just finished watching I just binged the whole season. And that's fantastic. And I'm glad they're getting a season 2 out of it, because it's kind of a different story for superheroes that basically, you're seeing from the point of perspective of consumerism that's, superheroes are making money off of you. Yet there's collateral damage from when they rescue people and stuff like that people die because of some of the actions that they do. Like one of the main, not to give anything away, this is in the trailer, the main character played by Dennis Quaid's son his girlfriend is killed by a speedster who runs through her, and just literally she just implodes into just what's left of her is her two arms, which he's hanging on to, and the rest of the body is like it just literally just completely like a puddle. Oh, also, don't let your kids watch this. One thing about it, even though it's a superhero one, there's a lot of language, a lot of foul language, sex. There's a lot of nudity in there, a lot of adult situations in this. So I wouldn't recommend this for kids, but for adults, it's fine. It's got some comedic overtones and a lot of fighting and violence. The situation. I've never heard a show use the FU word so many times in a TV series. I think they were trying to break a record as how many times they could say that in a TV series. But getting back to the Expanse, I'm so glad that they're doing this. Like I said, I'm rebinging the whole three seasons, not all in one time. I just did season 1. I'll probably do season 2 in the next couple of days. Hopefully, I'll do season 3 afterwards, and then I'll probably redo it again in the fall, right before the new season kicks in December. And like I said, it is a good show. You got to remember, when you look at the Expanse and how things go around it, and said this before, you have to do a world building, and there's some YouTubers out there that discuss this. And basically, when you look at the physics and everything, and you look at, hey, you have bullets coming through the ship's hull, whereas, when you see on Star Trek, it's like, they put the defense shields up and stuff like that. And then when you look at it to the perspective that, in this series, they don't use defense shields, so, they have to use the shielding plates of the hull of the ships. And you look at it and you're like, wow, Jesus. You had like one guy decapitated. Something came through the hull and smashed his head off. And then you have bullets hitting all over the place, shooting people in the chest and stuff like that, killing them inside the ship, where they can't say, yeah, shields up. But like I said, that's part of the world building, because, the physics of the nature, physics of gravity, knowing how everything works in, universally. When you add that to the show, you add it to a great cast that have great backgrounds. Their characters have great backgrounds. They're part of different cultures, types, languages. When you hear the Belchers language, which is like, it's a mixture. What is it? Chinese, Japanese, Gaelic, and a couple others mixed in there. And they have their own form of language, and they look at this situation, and you say, like, wow, they have, they're separated from that. And then when you hear how some people live, how some people have what they think, how they deal with marriage, religion, many different aspects, and it works for this show. And that's the way the show is supposed to be. Not when you sit there, write a show, and say, well, we have to be inclusive. We have to have people of color. There have to be gay people on the show. And we have to have. You can't emphasize that. When you throw politics into a show first before writing the show out, the show does not work, and it's been proven day in, day out. And I hate saying this, get woke, go broke. How many TV series, how many movies have we seen this happen? When we see this in movies like Captain Marvel, Ghostbusters, plenty of others that have been out, when you see stuff like this and you're like saying, oh, you're being misogynist, you're being alt-right to the whole situation. No. When you can't write a basic story and just basically not say, well, I put a gay person in the story and I put a black, guess what? They used to call them tokens back years ago. Yeah, tokens. because basically you wanted to make sure you had them there, so at least you could show people that. But that's not the story. The story is when you write something about space, you're dealing with 3 different groups of people living on 3 different worlds, and they're not agreeing with each other. And you've seen people in between trying not to have war started because of their hatred for each other. One group is trying to get respect, but yet they fall into the nature of revolutionaries and terrorists, and that's what makes this story, very, very good on there. And then, of course, you've thrown the element of the proto-molecule, which if you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to give too much about it. But that throws a little bit of a wrench into the whole story itself. And the thing about it is, the season 4 is going to be interesting because it's going to be ramped up, because they're going to add new elements to the story itself. What is going to happen? Will war happen in this universe? Now that what has happened at the end of season 3 has changed everything. So comment below, tell me how you feel about this. Are you happy with getting a season 3? Season 5. I'm way off here today. Don't forget, you'll find us on mindsandgab.com. Thank you for tuning in. Hang in there. We got tomorrow. Stay cool. Subscribe, like, support, share. If you don't have to go out, stay in. Binge The Expanse. After you binge it, binge The Boys. Happens to be very, very good. So until tomorrow, we'll check you out. Have a good one. Stay hydrated. Stay cool. Bye-bye now.